Universe.
Welcome to the Pluck podcast. How to stay sane building a cabin for cash, part 2. Pluck is courage and determination under fire. We interview real people with real stories as they use Pluck to overcome life's challenges. In part 1, we discuss building a cabin for cash, a nail gun injury and near-death experiences. The conversation continues in part 2. We're going to hear about sniffing glue plumbing jobs, calling 911 to report a dishwasher, and our dream construction jobs. Enjoy the show, and be sure to check out pluckuniverse.com and follow us on social media at pluckuniverse. As always, thanks for liking and subscribing.
Because it's like what you said. What is it you said about like why you do these things? What is it that you said?
Being on the edge of
I have to push myself to the edge
Yeah.
of what, of anything. You're just like, I just, even, in my job as a psychologist, I just want to, I trained at the highest level I could get. There's just, I don't know what that is. It's just a drive to just overcome what seems improbable. And so, it's just that it's that, well, I said last time, it's this kind of anxiety and adrenaline seeking dichotomy that's going on with me. Like, I'm super nervous about spending money, but I want to have a paid for house. I'm really concerned about safety, but I want to ride my motorcycle at 90 miles an hour.
my
How about you, John?
With construction is a little bit different because I hate manual labor. I detest physical labor, always have. So to give you some context of what that looked like back in the days, I worked a construction job doing landscaping once, and I was so unproductive one day, the boss refused to pay me. He would write checks every day, get paid every day, and he wouldn't pay me anything. So that was my clue that maybe I'm in the wrong business.
Oh my gosh.
He was right. So the two projects I did in my other house were two complete disasters, and they really were just installations. So I bought a new dishwasher from Home Depot and refused to pay the extra $50 to have somebody install it in. I'm not super cheap. I'm actually not a cheap guy, but there's something about someone coming in and doing it that would question my masculinity or something. So
It's a guy thing. Totally relate to that.
like, no, I'll put it in.
Don't touch my tools.
And so I get it inside, and the dishwasher, packet falls out. It looks pretty simple. There's a tube, there's a plug. What's the big deal? And I take the old one out, and water starts shooting out from the wall like a little fire hose. I was like, I turned off all the spigots, all the water shut off, but I had no idea that there's a main water line in the basement of most houses or somewhere that cut the water off. I had just done it somehow locally, I thought, and it was shooting out, and it was hot, and it was starting to flood. I told my wife, I was like, call 911. That's what I said. That's the first thing I thought of. Like, they're cops. Over. She's like, well, what? They're not going to do anything. Just call him. And get some towels. So she got every towel in the house, threw them all over the floor. This water's still shooting out. So the cop comes over and goes in the kitchen.
Wait, hold on. Hey, tell me you're not a lawyer at this time.
Oh, I am. So I didn't take dishwasher installation class in law school though. So the cop goes in there, he looks at me like, what do you want me to do about it? And I'd already at that point bent the tube in half so it wasn't spraying out water. I was like, I told him, I know the fire department, they know how to shut all this crap off. So call the fire department. He's like, well, most basements have the line. So he went down there and he found it and shut it off. The whole floor was soaked. Everything was screwed up.
911, that's too much, man.
Very helpful.
Oh, that's hilarious.
He did his job there. He served and protected.
Oh.
Yeah.
So that's it. And the other one,
going to crisis mode thinking there, That's funny.
And I didn't learn my lesson. A few months later, I bought a brand new fridge, big giant fridge, and brought it home. I wouldn't let them install it. So I get it into the kitchen. It weighs 3,000 pounds, and it won't fit into the spot the old fridge was in.
Oh,
so
no.
I had to cut all the cabinets around, Then finally, I have to go get a copper pipe and hook up the copper line, and it's all good to go. And then finally, after 2 days, I get it all put in there, polish it up nice and neat, turn it on, and I hear this spraying of water inside the wall. It's like you can tell it's water, and like
Oh no.
I had kinked the copper little line somehow right before I pushed it into the wall. I kinked it and it started to leak. Had to rip it all
Oh
out.
man. Oh my gosh.
For this to
That's
the rating of $50 freaking dollars, I would not let someone install that thing.
So sanity costs $50, it sounds like.
Yeah, I don't know, man. The only thing is there's a payoff, as you guys know, when you get up from the floor, wash off your hands, and look over at the job you just did. Even if it's a dishwasher, it kind of feels cool. It kind of feels nice.
Yeah,
You turn it
sure.
on, it works. There's that payoff. That's the only thing I get
Right.
as someone who doesn't like labor.
Well,
Yeah,
there's just
there is something to that.
definitely.
And I mean, I don't, there's plenty of, especially now, there's so many really cool female like contractors, carpenters, things like that I've seen to do great, amazing stuff. But like, there seems to be something from a guy's standpoint, some satisfaction around like getting something done yourself, especially in our world where so much of our work is not that way, right? It's emails and, sitting in front of
Right.
the computer all day, but
Mhm.
it is as crazy making as it is. And those stories, like I'm laughing just because like I know exactly what that feels like. I've been in those situations with a dishwasher. And how it drives you crazy, and how it drives you crazy that you could have averted the entire thing by just paying a little bit of extra.
Yeah,
And then there's this perverted just sense of satisfaction at the end where you're like, but I did it.
exactly. Always
Yeah.
felt good when it turned on, and
Mhm.
it was worth it. So the other thing I did in the house was tile. Of all the projects I've done in sheetrocking and putting up a porch and stuff, the tiling is the only thing I like. There's something about tiling once you get the hang of it that I enjoy. The lining it up, the floor tiles, there's just something really satisfying about that.
So did you cut them?
Yeah, I like the wet saw. You hook it up. I know your boss is
Okay.
cheap and just ran a hose over the regular saw, but I went and got a real
Wait, you did not do that.
yeah, his
No.
old boss did, didn't he, Rob?
Oh yeah, probably. Yeah.
Just a regular saw with a hose. But
Yeah.
is there a particular
Yeah, he did actually. I forgot about that. Oh wow.
is there a particular type of work that you guys love the most? That really just is it the painting? Is it sheetrocking? What is it that gets you going, if anything?
Oh man, I hate painting. That's the
Yeah, I don't
opposite of
like
your
painting.
question, but painting sucks so bad.
Oh, I hate it.
Yeah.
So much
I-
prep and
Well, let me
I
ask
think
you
I
this.
think
You
I
got-
mirror what you said with the tiling though. I totally get that. There's something
Yeah.
meditative about it.
Let me
Yeah,
ask you this then, Neftali. If you had to leave your career and pursue one aspect of construction for a living, what would you do?
Oh man,
Go do
that's-
it.
and this is just ties in with some of the other sort of interests I have, but I would love to do electrical.
okay.
And that's partly because I find electric motors, and I've got a couple of electric cars. I've pretty much been on a process of electrifying our entire home. So we just put in an induction oven, replacing our gas oven, put in a hybrid heat pump water heater.
Cool.
But I don't know very much about it. It's still sort of a mystery to me how electrons go through a wire, and it would be such a convenient thing to be able to wire my house on my own. Like I've never, that's not a skill that I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool. I'd be the kind of guy that if I did have that skill, man, I'd have outlets like every 2 feet. All over the place.
That's
people
funny.
would come over to my house like, why is there an outlet by the toilet?
That's
Well,
funny.
just in case, you never know.
So John, you would be a tiler, I guess, huh?
Get a van and be a tile guy. Totally. What would you do on it?
I would probably do finished carpentry. That's the stuff I enjoy the most. I've built built-in cabinets, bookcases, that kind of thing. I like it's indoor work, it's a smaller project usually. So I enjoy that. Get to use a nail gun. Now, when you're talking about being an electrician, I remembered we were back when I was working as a carpenter, we went over to an electrician's house. There was a kitchen fire and he had us doing some remodeling, and my boss, Rob, yelled down like, "Sonny, is the power off?" He's like, yeah, it's off. I shut it off. And of course, Rob grabbed the wires that were for the exhaust fan in the kitchen and got shocked. He's
Oh,
like,
man.
"Sonny, it's not off." It was like of all people. But yeah, I like the finished stuff. I built during the pandemic, I built a little camper on my trailer. I had a little 4x8 trailer and I built a little kind of I'll show you a picture of my camper that I built. It's kind of a tactical style camper. Never used it. I was planning to bring it to the cabin and use it, but I never did. Huh?
The inside always looked like a kind of a 70s limo vibe. Like you could have had that heart-shaped bed in there. It's just
Yeah, it
shag,
had LED and a
carpet,
shag carpet and
like a
all. Yeah, it was.
an 80s limo, if you can picture that. That was the inside.
I
It's pretty cool.
sold it though, got rid of it. But yeah, I like those kind of. We're building a guitar. I built that, and that was fun. I built this one, a little travel guitar.
Nice. Wow. Holy smokes.
So
That's one
but,
off all forms of construction now. That last house was the last time I'll ever swing a hammer, but it was fun and it was satisfying. And it was just a weird time and place that I was motivated to spend all weekend tiling a chimney, like a fireplace. And I would never
that
do
turned
that.
out so amazing, man. That I'm gonna post a picture
I don't know how that happened because
on the
every
video.
tile job, because I'm like such a newbie, every tile job, you always have to go back and like fix something and always something wrong. And then usually, a third of the project you have to redo. That's how I learn. It's just YouTube and then mistake, fix it, mistake, fix it. Now that freaking chimney, that fireplace came together perfectly. Not one mistake, not one redo. And it was the most
Wow.
geometrically technical job. It was just insanely somehow came together. I don't know what it was. I even had to cut out. So I went to the deal where you get those little blocks that are like puzzle pieces. They're about 6 inches by 12 inches. They're all shaped differently, but you stick them all together. It all comes out like looks like little stones you glue it up individually, but they're really just puzzle blocks you put all together. I'm sure you guys know the real term for that.
Yeah, I've seen those. I don't know what it's called.
But the sides of the fireplace, it wasn't like 90 degrees. They came off 45 degrees to meet the walls in the corner. So that wasn't that hard, but I had to get around and cut around the fireplace itself. So I cut out these little cardboard model pieces or cardboard little stencils or whatever. And all those worked out. It was just
Wow.
it's aligned, and it was just the least stressful, least curse word inducing job ever. I don't know. And that was the last thing I ever did. And I'm going to go out with a bang. That's
There's
it.
a corner fireplace too. So I think it was kind of a challenging thing.
I don't know. I would never do that now. I don't know what possessed me. I think, honestly, it was just I was single and I had a lot of time on my hands and I did want to make some money on this house, and it was still very 70s old people looking. And so there's a lot of factors just came together. But my weekends now are just like so preciously reserved for just goofing off. So it's a different mindset.
I think you have a different energy for every job. Like my energy for that skylight was a little bit of anxious energy.
Yeah.
And then there's sometimes when you I get what you're saying there, where it's just like the energy's just right and you're in the right frame of mind and the right place in your life. And the project just feels like it flows. You're not forcing yourself, you're not forcing things, you're not rushing necessarily. It just feels right.
That's exactly how it was.
Yeah. I think it's true. I think sometimes it's, a job will tap into my creative juices and I just get really excited about, designing something that I haven't done before. In this cabin, I have the main doors are bifold doors. So it's glass doors that open up into about 12-foot opening. And it goes out on a deck, and then you can see the kind of woods and the mountain and stuff there. So it's pretty cool. But, I never built an enormous door like that, a 12-foot wide door before. So there is, but, and ran into problems here and there. It's still fine tuning it, but yeah, that it kind of just, it was excitement, I think, that really drove me for that, just with the, how it was coming together and stuff. But so what do you guys think about favorite tools? Do you have a tool you can't live without?
Well, I
Back,
have a
go ahead.
rule around tools. Like when I'm struggling with a job, it's often because I don't have the right tools, and I'm trying
Right.
to jerry rig the job with tools that that are substandard. So
Yeah.
I don't have a favorite tool, but I have a saying that I remind myself of, especially when I'm starting to think cheaply about a project, is like, don't shortchange yourself on the tools, because the
Yeah.
tool will make the job for you a lot of times.
It's true.
And I've done it too many times where I'm just like trying to do something. And I'm like, I know there's a tool for this,
Yeah.
but either I'm too lazy to go to Home Depot and get it, or I'm too
Mhm.
cheap, or I'm rushing,
Right.
Mine would be, and this sounds bad, but it was the glue that you mix together for the PVC because it smelled so good. And I did one PVC job in that house, and it was utter ridiculously stupid looking finished product because all I had to do was just rig up a sink drain, but it was something off on the alignment. So I had all these
Oh,
little
yeah.
elbows, endless little elbows. It looked like that old Microsoft, screensaver back in the 90s. You'd say way too much PVC.
Are you talking about the purple stuff?
It looked like a hamster, one of those hamster tunnels. So
Oh,
yeah, the purple stuff. I love that. That's the only thing I loved using. It smelled great, and it was fun to play with. That'd be
maybe you
mine.
smelled it too long, and that's why you
Yeah.
ended up with the results you got.
I'm hallucinogenic.
Yeah.
That was crazy. What about you, man?
I love a screw gun, man. Cordless drill. I love it so much because, a lot of my projects, I like using screws, not nails, for building stuff. So I just built I'm just finished today a console. So it's like an 80s style console. It has a video screen in it. It's basically like a coffee table. And you play Pac-Man and the Lego, all that on it.
Yeah, you're looking down onto the game.
Yeah, you're looking down on it. If you're old enough to remember, Pizza Hut used to have these little arcade consoles, and you could sit down at it. You could put your drink on there and your pizza, and you could play the game. So I just kind of got a hankering to build one of those. But I use screws to put it all together. Pretty much, I did some finish nailing for just a couple things, but I like this. I like screwing stuff together because I feel like it just stays together better, and it's a little easier to fix if it doesn't, if I want to change something or I didn't measure things right. So I love a screw gun. I'll even cook with it. So
Yeah.
you may think a regular beater is the job for baking, but actually a screw gun with a little beater handle on the end is great. I like to make protein brownies. So I'll take a protein brownie mix. I'll put 3 scoops of protein powder in there because my guys are all into that, and I am too. And I'll just use my screw gun, and I put a beater on it, and I mix it, and the thing is amazing. It will mix anything.
Masculine steroid, something muscles.
My wife is like, "What are you doing?" It's like, I'm not
muscles
using that.
rippling cook I've ever heard. I'm the man.
Woo!
Yeah.
I love it. Give me a screw gun. I have 2 screw guns, and
Okay, well,
use them a lot.
that sounds like a problem, but what does a man need?
So
Well,
staying
we,
sane.
Should we call it soon, bro? We could do a part 2 on the cabin at some point.
Sure. Yeah, it was fun.
Any
Any
parting words?
takeaways? Any
Well,
final parting thoughts?
So, what's your takeaway on embarking on a project? It seems like it'd be just tons of stress.
You
and
gotta,
money concerns and all that.
everything takes longer. Everything costs more than you think. Doesn't matter what. And this is true for this case. For this, I mean, the pandemic, everything rose. We couldn't find anyone. Everyone wanted double. Everything went up in price and everything. So, I mean, you got to count the costs, and you got to, I think, be true to yourself. I guess know yourself well. And I knew that if I didn't try this, it would bother me more than if I did try it and failed. And even this last time I was up there with my son and we were working on it together, and it was frustrating and I didn't get much done. I'd forgotten my hammer, shot a nail through the water line with my nail gun while I was there. I probably shouldn't be doing this stuff really. But anyway, I was up there. I was like, this sucks. I'm never going to finish this. This is horrible. And I just said, you know what? I'm in the mountains. I'm with my son. We're building this thing. I'm getting it done. And I was able to kind of redirect my perspective on it, and ended up having a good visit, and we got some stuff done. And so that's my takeaway on that. But appreciate you guys coming.
Yeah, like most things, Hunter, I think, working on these projects is sort of like learning about yourself and learning how to not fight yourself, right?
Yeah,
as much.
totally.
And it does make you, I think it makes you, again, I don't want to sound sort of sexist here, but it makes you a better man, I think.
Yeah.
Because you have to work through so much of your own frustration and the challenges internally to kind of just get you through those rough spots.
Mm-hmm.
And just to have that insight in the moment to be like, hey, look, yeah, I just shot a hole in this water line.
Right.
Then, you got to learn how to zoom back out to the big picture, right? Be like,
Yes.
I'm here in the mountains with my son, right? This water line hole thing's going to get fixed because I've fixed a bazillion types of problems like this. But this moment here, right? This moment's what's really special, or this project, getting this far in the project is pretty special. So
I think you got to have goals and you got to chase them. And that process is going to be hills and valleys. You're going to feel terrible about it sometimes and elated about it sometimes. But if you don't have any goals and you're not, like John with his band now is learning these new songs, not the kind of band he would envision, but he's doing it. He's chasing a goal. He's going after it. And I think that, that's, I think, how I stay sane, or try to.
My takeaway is for guys that are cerebral in their career, it's good to have physicality challenges. And I always recommend that, whether it's sports or construction projects, but getting physical or getting into the gym, which we'll get to down the road. But physicality, as you guys know a lot more than I do, sets off a lot of the chemicals you need. And being too cerebral all day long can drive you, can drive me bonkers.
Yeah, that's a great takeaway.
Yeah, I love
that.
I
appreciate you guys meeting with me today. You guys are definitely full of pluck.
Hey, all right. Get your t-shirts, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, see the Pluck merch.
Pluck Universe.